Welcome to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy, and today I want to talk about being a parent of Gen Alpha boys specifically, and trying to decide when it is the appropriate time to take them to a protest. Tomorrow is the No King's Day protest. It's supposed to be the largest protest in the history of America. Last year's No King's protest was, I believe, June 18th. And that was 5 million people was the turnout. I feel like I want to be there to be counted. And I've protested a lot. I've actually gone to multiple protests. I'm pretty comfortable. But I haven't brought my kids to a protest yet. And I'm trying to decide when it is the appropriate time. My boys are 12 and 7. And one of the reasons why I don't know if I want to bring them is because it's easier for me to move around the crowd, for me to scream things that may be a little bit inappropriate. But at the same time, I do think it is important to have children activate and participate in the civil discourse, whether in person, in protest, or educating them at home on different topics. For me, I'm trying to shelter my kids a little bit because we have in our household had to deal with the effects of COVID, with losses of close family members. So for my kids, they're very well aware of what happened during COVID, who is responsible, who failed, why people felt the way they felt about vaccinations, et cetera, et cetera. So since then, I've actually been very protective of them, and I don't try to expose them to too much stuff because they'll get really worked up. And it's hard when you're trying to be impartial. Prior to this particular president, as a parent and as an educator, if you're teaching, you were supposed to be really impartial when you're talking about politics because you have responsibility as somebody who is in a power position to not influence people based on your own biases. But it seems weak to not disclose how bad things are right now. I have drawn the line. I have not told my children about the Epstein Files yet because I don't even know where you just freak them all out. The most I can do is basically freak out about Roblox and get really overprotective about Roblox, and they think I'm a lunatic, but they don't understand how crazy it is right now. They don't understand that these people are in control, and these are also the people that are starting wars to hide from these misdeeds. So how do I explain all that to my children? Right? Is that something I can have you explain it to your children? Tell me if you guys have explained these things, because I feel irresponsible for not explaining them because I'm such an activist and I participate in politics. But I also feel like I don't want them to be traumatized and almost to the extent that they might lose faith in the good of humanity, lose faith in leadership, lose faith in government, lose faith in just having trust, right? Just having just honoring your word. How do you teach them what's going on at the moment without making them sort of feel like being good is a lie, right? Because right now, not being good is actually paying out in dividends, right? I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that in terms of a return on investment, the people that have chosen to not move with integrity, the return on their investment has been quite good. So then how do you explain how you should be in a world where in real time, you're not telling the truth, essentially, right? Because the people that are doing really well, that are hiding all the misdeeds, are literally practicing satanic rituals. So how do you explain. I just haven't explained it. I'm just like, don't go on Roblox. Don't tell anybody our address. They're like, we know, mommy, we know. But I'm also like, the reality is for kids to be able to socialize, they have to go online and start talking to each other with headsets and do internet like gaming. Like they have to actually be able to talk to each other. And if I don't allow my kids to talk to their friends while they're playing and socialize, and I've seen other stories where people that have like died of cancer that were gamers had a huge gaming community that was extremely supportive to them. That was extremely lovely. I mean, I'm saying lovely. That's like a very female word, but I'm not giving like, it would be awesome, whatever. Like, but I don't want to deprive my children of being able to socialize online because I'm overprotective and being so fearful about predators. Because already this generation is more isolated than I would say any previous generation, because I remember riding my bike around at my son's age and like meeting up with my guy friends at the arcade and then riding home, meeting up with them at the tennis courts at the park, playing tennis, getting on our bikes and riding home. And my kids like don't even know how to ride a bike because I'm scared that they're going to get hit by a car because we live on a hill. You know, it's like all these things that you want to give your children, but the environment right now is not conducive to doing that. But yet you still have to sort of give them these benchmark moments, or else you feel like you've robbed them of their childhood, of something, of knowledge, of you're failing as a parent. So it's like, those are just the basic things. And then there's the large philosophical things about managing how to inspire a child without overpressuring them about the real world, but getting them to stay motivated long term. That's where I'm at right now. And it's actually kind of interesting because I watched this new series, and I know we're not trying to like subscribe to the corporate overlords, but I had to watch this series. I subscribed for as long as I could finish watching, and then it canceled. So if that sort of helps anyways. But The Madison, which is starring Michelle Pfeiffer and Kurt Russell and Matthew Fox, who was on Party of Five and I believe Lost. Great show. I think it's only 6 episodes. It's on Paramount Plus, and I got it for like $2.99 for like 2 months, and then I finished watching it. I binged it, and I just canceled my subscription. So I have to say that the reason why I really, and full disclosure, am I a little bit biased about Michelle Pfeiffer? Yes, I dressed her. She's one of the people that I dressed when I was a fashion designer under my own label. So full disclosure, I have previous history with her. However, this is a really good performance. I was deeply affected by this because the way that they were able to portray really difficult human experience so on point and real, because I've experienced to a certain degree what part of the show is about. And our society is like not good. Our culture, specifically American culture, is not good with dealing with death, supporting people who are dealing with a loved one passing. I mean, we're good like a couple weeks, but like, you know, there's other things that you just don't think about. And that show is really good at making you go through that journey and really understand and feel the realness. Plus the fact that it is set in the backdrop of Montana, so it's beautiful. And it sort of like reconnects you as a human being in this like highly, highly technical world that we're in, where we're constantly online and like using our devices. You get to see like, you know, nature. You get to re-experience like, oh wow, I forgot like nature's out there. Like I made me think I should plan a vacation where I'm integrating nature back into our lives. I did that during COVID. I went and saw the giant sequoias, the General Sherman, but that was like a while ago. I haven't done anything like that. So like, it was a good reminder, good inspirational kind of moment. And in that, there's a conversation about if you have means and then you have children, how much do you support those children into adulthood and then their children before it's like too much? And is there a point where like, oh, well, now it's too late. Like I have to continue because I've missed the boat on being able to launch them, for instance. So like thinking about that and then thinking about politics and the instability that happens so quickly when you have somebody that really doesn't care about being remembered as somebody giving, charitable, kind, gracious. So, I mean, maybe I'll just wait until whenever the day comes, naturally, that the people that are causing us the most trouble in the world right now naturally pass away after a long life, then I'll tell my kids what happened. Because I feel like as long as that person is still alive, they're going to be constantly asking me, like, why has nobody done anything? And I don't know how to answer that. Do I break down the 25th Amendment? Do I break down that, like, the entire cabinet has to have a serious conversation and J.D. Vance has to also turn in order for the 25th Amendment to work? Do we then talk about how we need to make amendments in the Constitution in order to keep this from happening again? Are we kind of hoping that there's just not going to be another person that can rise like this? I don't really have any answers because I don't know that like my answers that would have been true a decade ago would be true now. I think I'm still stuck in the past thinking things still work properly. And I mean, I know that it's a mess right now, but I don't know, like, I really don't know. I for the most part, I'm optimistic that everything is going to end up resetting back properly. But we have literally no Democratic defense line at all. Like, the DHS nominee after Kristi Noem got confirmed. Like, what's that about? I feel like with the Democratic leadership that we have, it's a constant feeling of like we held the line, and I think we held the line, and then all of a sudden we fail. It's happened like 5 times, and I'm just tired of being disappointed. And so I can't even explain the democratic process to my child because I'm so disappointed in it that I don't want them to feel that and then also not have faith in it. I come from leaving my family escaped Vietnam, running away from communists. I have always been told, and I firmly believe America to be the America I grew up in. So I don't know how to explain what it is now. Like, I don't know. Everything's moving so quickly and changing. I don't even know, like, what goals for them to set. You know, they want to, I'm just like, okay, yeah, whatever whatever you're interested in. But I literally don't even know. It's like, oh, I don't know if that job's going to exist with AI. Maybe you should, I had this conversation. It's like, maybe you should consider going into plumbing or being an electrician. Because these are jobs where people still need to actually physically go there and do the work. But, you know, these are conversations that are complex. Like, I don't need to put this much stress on a 12-year-old. But I also remember being 12 and like really being aware of everything that was going on when I was 12 because I was in 7th grade because I skipped a grade. So it was like 100-day Gulf War. I remember that was after having, I think it was like the Vietnam War was the last war. And then all of a sudden it was like Desert Storm. and it was Colin Powell, 100 days that war lasted. And I was like, oh, I guess that's how fast we get through wars now. And then after 9/11, it was like, oh my God. When the industrial complex can find all the ways to make profit, and the people that make profit don't care about human lives, that's when you realize, like, this is why this war is going on for so long, because nobody should want, if you care about people, you should not want, even if you're making money, you should not want it to come at that cost. And if you don't care, and there's enough people that think like that and don't care, so between war, like Palantir, people like that, and then you have, you know, like the pharmaceutical companies and health insurance companies also working against us, plus the tax rate, you just feel like you're under assault in the United States right now. And the only thing you can do is literally not buy into the idea of, like, I need to spend more. It's like you really got to buy into, like, how do we hang out with people locally, get to know our neighbors, get to just make our actual community better, and hope to keep it, like, stable long enough so that you can either hold out until everything resets back to, I wouldn't say normal, but like where things function properly again, and possibly be able to have conversations about the future that don't include having to move out of the country. I mean, like, right now is the first time in history there have been more people that have left the United States than immigrated in. That's crazy. If you could understand how crazy, as also, I mean, there's another crazy stat that non-farm payroll job creation, first time in history, 0 jobs were created, which is better than having 10,000 jobs lost. But it's just that there are multiple months now where there have been no jobs created or loss of jobs. And Forbes magazine has reported that our U.S. Treasury is now insolvent, which means that we were bankrupt. So we have now been looted by the President of the United States to the extent that we have now become bankrupt. Our Social Security fund is basically unable to maintain itself. So Bernie Sanders is proposing a 5% tax on the billionaires in this country, which I'm absolutely all for, because I've been saying we should be taxing the billionaires. Multimillionaires, millionaires, like, that's really not a lot of money in terms of wherever you're living and what you got to pay for. But a billionaire can absorb 5% and still thrive. 864 billionaires in the United States. We get $12,000 per person, per family. Per person? Per family, maybe. And all of the healthcare provided and free college and all of our infrastructure funded. I think what they have to do is put it up for a referendum. So you have to put it up for a vote. I don't think, like, you know, it's got to go like each state. If each state was able to put it up on the ballot, then that would be the most effective way to get in. I mean, I wonder if everybody called their senators and was like, I want this tax on billionaires. Maybe that's something we can all agree upon. Because it doesn't make sense that they're paying 0 tax and we're paying like 33 plus 30 to 38%. I'm not gonna lie, we're in like a pretty good income bracket, but we pay a ton of tax. Like, we pay a lot of tax, and we're not in the right, we're not able to write off as much as we need to in order to, like, have that kind of benefit that these billionaires have and these multi-millionaires have. So it feels not that different from, like, when we, like, just got out of college and just bought our first apartment in New York, and we're, like, struggling. Because you have to, like, manage where funds are going like that with interest rates so high when you're buying a house. Right now, it's like over 6%. It just shot to like 6.56% is the mortgage rate right now because of the oil crisis due to the war in Iran. Iran, not Iran, in Iran. And the Strait of Hormuz. They're charging, I believe, was it $1 million per ship to be able to go through, $2 million per ship to be able to go through, something like that. The images of all the ships that are waiting, insane. I can't believe that Thailand has run out of fuel as a result. Cuba is now like in darkness. People are dying on ventilators. They're dying because they have no fuel. So my hypothesis that Donald Trump enjoys being the Grim Reaper president, still tracking. Because there's no attempt to like save anybody's lives, send any aid to help. It's all about like almost like strangling an economy. All separate from the Epstein Files and all the crazy unredacted stuff that's come out. I really need Sasha Rowley to get interviewed by mainstream media. Is there any mainstream media that is willing to interview him? I mean, we should be demanding that, seriously. That would probably, I don't know, I mean, I want to say that would probably do it. But there was another unredacted file that came out that showed Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein were discussing. Jeffrey Epstein wanted to take Donald Trump down using Deutsche Bank records that would implicate him in such a way that he would have to resign. And he had discussed this with Steve Bannon. So there's some theories that maybe that's why he got unalived in prison. So there's also like Ghislaine Maxwell. There was a plastic surgeon that had worked on her. And then they met with her and they're like, that's not her. Which was reported by Radar, I believe. So, it's my feeling that's like we're living in a James Bond film right now. It's, again, still tracking. Like, could they have switched people out? Yeah, maybe they could have. This thing's been going on for so long. There's been a lot of cover. Although in Paris, they raided the Rothschild Bank headquarters. So France is kind of taking the lead on trying to get justice on Elon Musk. They raided his office too. And they're charging him with, I believe, like election interference. And then he has to pay like $300-something million to Twitter investors because he had lied in order to get that Twitter deal in the process of he was doing all kinds of fraudulent activity. So he was found liable and has to pay. So I think it's interesting that the international governments are being more effective than we are right now. I do feel like that creates a lot of hope for us. And with enough pressure, we will have to do the right thing if we get enough allies doing it. And now with enough media, there's just so much you can't censor. That's helpful to what we need to happen, right? So Iran says that they have the unredacted files. China wants to release the unredacted files video of Donald Trump. And Jamie Raskin said that the unredacted files have Donald Trump doing things with a 9-year-old. So it's very important that this all comes to light. The faster, the better. So maybe we start with call your congressmen or women, call your senators, and demand the tax on billionaires. And, if you're protesting on Saturday, let me know if you're bringing your kids, what you're telling them. Do you care if people are cussing around them? I accidentally yelled, see you next Tuesday in front of some kids the last time I was at the King's protest. So that's also why I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't bring my kids because they'd be like, Mommy, So how are you doing it? Give me some tips and let me know. right. Until next time, give me a follow or subscribe on Substack or YouTube. And I'm thinking about doing daily ones for paid subscribers and then weekly for everyone. We'll see. Or when I want to do extra ones, it'll just be for paid subscribers. Because sometimes I want to release small little episodes, but without having to do a bunch of editing, it was just kind of go commando, as it were. All right. Until next time.